What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So, in this video, we are going to do some more updating real quick on stuff overseas in the Middle East, as shit is just fucking going crazy. And I'm 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 I've had it up to here with it all. It is I'm pissed off. I'm annoyed. And right now, there's nobody at home. So where I would normally restrain myself because people, my walls are thin and people can hear, and I, you know, try to reserve myself and keep myself calm, I just might lose my shit on this video. I'm not gonna lie. So anyways, you're probably going to see a side of me that you've been waiting to see. All right, so here we are. Thank you for joining me. If you are staying with me, okay, hang in. If you are liking the content and stuff, please subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. You can check out my other channels, JMD Drummer, JMD Play. Check those out. My drum plays, I've got drum covers over there. I've started doing reactions to music and stuff. Check all that stuff out. Like, share, subscribe over there as well. Good thing. JMD Play, I did stream live a couple of days ago. It's the first time I've done that in probably a month. But yeah, you can check that out. I'm gonna try to get back into the streaming over there, the gameplay and stuff like that. Fortnite and whatnot. Getting ready to go. Well, we still got another month, but got another month left of this season, and then we're going to the next OG season before Chapter 6. So if you're into Fortnite and you like that, we're probably doing that. I do plan on also getting into some other games. I've got several games that I have lined up. I want to do series on and stuff, gameplay. Anyways, check there for if you want to, like, what was that? Oh, never mind. All right. If you want to give one, like a donation or something, one-time donation, or you can go up to JMD Nation to do a subscription there. Join for $3 a month if you want to. Don't have to. Doesn't matter. I really don't care. You can if you want. I'm not, I welcome it, but you don't have to. I don't feel like you have to. Your subscriptions and likes and shares and all that will help tremendously. So, anyways, coming back. All right. So, I think the last time I left off, we had the attacks and stuff with the walkie-talkies and pagers and all that kind of stuff. That was the last big thing I think I did in our previous update video. And since then, Israel's just gone ape shit. They don't care anymore. They're going full-fledged into Lebanon. You still got the shit going over in Gaza. That's not ending. Like the focus is on Lebanon right now, but they're still doing the shit in Gaza. I mean, there's still, just this past weekend, you still had people, bombings going on in different households and stuff. You still had like 24 killed one day, another day, another amount of people were killed. Women, children. There was like 12 children, I think, out of the 24 in the one bombing. It's not ending in Gaza. You still got the stuff going on in the West Bank where they're still going crazy up in there, and there's constantly. So Lebanon is just the next step. Lebanon is the next step in this broad ass thing that Netanyahu and his regime in Israel are bound and determined to make greater Israel. And that's what it is. They are bound and determined. They have, you have your resistance groups that they are bound and determined completely take out because they feel emboldened and unrestricted to do so. So here we are in Lebanon. You had Friday a massive attack in the southern like suburbs of Beirut, where the leader of Hezbollah has been leader of Hezbollah for, like, I want to say 30 years or so, something like that, was assassinated. Early reports, I think, were showing, like immediate early reports were showing that were saying that he was still alive, but then eventually it come out that he was assassinated. This is a guy that's been over Hezbollah for like I said, for years. He has been like helping out, controlling Hezbollah, and they're building their militant group, and he helped on fighting ISIS and all this. Like, I mean, these are that's the crazy part about all this. That's the crazy part about all this, that these are groups that helped fight against actual world, like, dominating, or trying to anyways, like jihadist groups, ISIS, Al Qaeda, like these that had these world domination type of views, a Sunni type of Arab, because you have basically two types, Sunni and Shiite. Hezbollah is Shiite. If I'm not mistaken, Hamas is as well. These are, I mean, they still have their extremes, and they still, have like fundamental ideology in carrying out like terrorist kind of stuff, but it's more localized. It's more like them trying to defend and trying to or trying to take back land and stuff that was previously theirs. Like that's their whole idea. Like and these groups, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis in Yemen, these are all groups that come up in those areas. Hezbollah come up in Lebanon back in the early 1980s, when the you had Israel actually had occupied part of Lebanon. They had went in and was occupying, just very much similar to Gaza. And that's when Nasrallah, whatever, the commander of Hezbollah, he had come up, and he helped along with the Hezbollah actually grew out of that as a resistance out of that occupation to push back the IDF and stuff, and push them back out of Lebanon. Which happened, I think, somewhere between in the 90s or so, or something. Whenever they actually finally came out, I can't remember when they did. But that's what helped. That's what grew up out of that. Just like Hamas grew up out of Gaza as a resistance group for the people of Gaza, which Netanyahu helped make legit, because he wanted somebody that went against the PA in the West Bank, so that there was like no cohesion in the two areas to be able to actually form a state. That was the whole point. Like, he helped Hamas become legit, just to turn around and blame everything on them, and ultimately attack them now, and try to take them out. Which, this is I'm not in any way excusing what happened on October 7th. That was bad on Hamas's part. They took advantage of a situation, and I think it got a little out of hand. Stuff happened that they didn't expect. You had more groups than just Hamas even break out and take take hostages and stuff like that. I mean, it wasn't just Hamas that took hostages, but the 1,200 that was killed, there's been it's like people are forgetting shit here, though. It's been constantly here recently where they're like nailing in that, trying to nail back in that 1,200 people killed in Israel, and and that it's all Hamas's fault. But honestly, we do not know how many people Hamas actually killed, because we also know, and it seems to be forgotten, that when the IDF finally did get down there to respond to the situation, The IDF actually had some friendly fire killing going on. There was a lot of people that were actually killed just by the IDF. A lot of innocent people, because they did not restrict from who was Hamas, who was friendly. They were just straight up, were killing people. So, I mean, it's like they're just completely wiping that out and forgetting that. So we really honestly don't know how many people were actually killed by Hamas, or how many people actually were also killed by the IDF. Again, I've said this before. If the people who were accidentally killed by the IDF was probably a small number, they were more than likely, the smaller percentage of people. We also know that over half of the people that were killed by Hamas were actually militant people, like, were a part of the IDF. They were secure, so it was like, out of the 1,200, it was about, what, I think 600 or 700 of them, 800 of them that was actually military, and then the rest were civilians, innocent civilians. So there again, this is, it's always thrown out. When Israel goes to do all their damage in Gaza, do all their damage in Hezbollah, they're quick to immediately act as if everybody they've killed, or the majority of the people they killed, are militant people, so that it doesn't look like they killed that many, innocent people. But when it comes to Israel blaming Hamas or Hezbollah or whatever or anybody for actions that they take, it's everybody. They act like everybody's innocent people. All their people are innocent people, but all the other people, are militants. They're all, even the children are possible, are eventually going to be militant and eventually going to try to kill us. So we got to take the kids out too. Like that. This is the problem. And this is the narrative and propaganda that keeps being pushed through. That is annoying as fuck to me. I told you I'm lit. I have nobody here, so I am going raw on this. Okay. And this is pissing me off. So now they've made the strike in Lebanon, killing a commander. You had even Biden and apparently even Harris, and I don't know if it was like a joint statement or if they put out separate statements, damn near celebrating him being killed, which is kind of weird. I mean, bro, because there was no moment. It hasn't been a moment yet where they are condemning Israel for killing so many people. I mean, in Lebanon, like for these recent attacks, it's like, and it's frustrating to me. I mean, you even had, Bill Clinton back in the day, calling up Israel and telling them to chill out when they were attacking. I want to say it was Lebanon then. Telling them to chill out because it was looking like another Holocaust or something, the way they were acting and whatnot. And, like, and then, George W. Bush as well, made contact telling, immediate, or not W. Bush Sr., sorry, George Sr., had his time where he called and, threatened, I want to say it was something like to do with I want to say it was about them taking over the illegal settlements. Yeah, goodness gracious, my mind went blank for a second. Taking over the illegal settlements and stuff. He argued about or made a deal about something, giving them something in order for them to stop doing that. Reagan even, fucking Reagan of all people, actually was able to call and get them to chill out as well. At one point, I mean, these are it seemed like in history, in previously, there was an understanding that didn't seem like there was a problem for the United States to put Israel in its place and help make them understand that we were the superpower. They were just our colonial little, you know, nugget out there in the Middle East that we controlled, and they just did what we told them to do when we told them to do it, and they stopped when we told them to stop. But now, or at least with Biden, he just fucking lets them go full reign. He keeps acting and making this rhetoric about he wants, he would like them to stop, and doesn't agree with them doing what they're doing, but yet they just come out a couple of days ago talking about how they got an 8 point something $7 million package to them, to Israel. I mean, how the fuck are you going to sit there and say that you're trying to convince them to chill out, but then turn around and you're sending them shit tons of money and artillery and everything else? Like, what kind of signal does that give Netanyahu? I mean, it's like, well, yeah, they're talking this shit, but we're still getting this, so who cares? I mean, they don't. It's a mixed message. If at best, if I'm just strongmanning the whole thing, it's a mixed message. But clearly, either Biden just straight up doesn't actually care, or he is completely incompetent of being able to stop Israel. He doesn't have the fucking nuts to call Netanyahu and tell him to stop the shit or else. And this is annoying the shit out of me. And now you have Israel. They turned around and did another bombing, I think today, where they killed a commander of Hamas that was in Beirut. This was in central Beirut. They had a massive bombing. I'm talking about 8 to 10, and that was Friday as well. These are like 8 to 10 or more bombs dropped. We're already having reports, arguably, that some of these were actually the 2,000-pound bombs, doing massive craters. There's tons of buildings demolished in central and southern Beirut. This is, and the number of dead now is up in the thousands, a little over 1,000 now. And I mean, this is, they're just talking about a ground invasion now. Apparently, they're going through the tunnels currently, right on the border, to, I guess, do checks through there, and they're clearly have plans to actually cross at some point here very soon, and do a small incursion of sorts into Lebanon. And the crazy thing about this is we had Netanyahu at the UN General Assembly Friday, where a massive amount of people walked out. A lot of state members, all across, international state members all across the world walked out. I mean, the majority of the place emptied out in protest over him making a speech. It was wild. And then he gave his speech, his normal rhetoric as he's been doing, and then also making attacks towards Iran, that there's nowhere in Iran that Israel could not hit, making threats to them, making threats to everybody. And while he's making this speech is when Israel was attacking southern Beirut and did the assassination. While he was making this speech, it's like it was all planned and timed out. And this is something that Israel's been also doing all along the way. I mean, every time Blinken appeared, it seemed like every time Blinken made a trip over there to talk to somebody, whether it was uh, the head of, or people in negotiations, or one of the leaders of Egypt or Jordan or whatever. Like whenever he was, over there making his little rounds, that's when it's some of the biggest attacks Israel did on Hamas. It's like, this is something that they do when the media is focused on one thing, like trying to focus on something to cover, they start blowing up shit. And then you hear about it afterwards. Oh, damn, they done blown up all this, they done blown up all that, they done dropped bombs here, then dropped bombs here. And now it's being reported that they're here, especially recently. I mean, they were kind of doing it a little bit already, but particularly the past few months, they are making decisions and making moves, doing attacks without even letting the U.S. know of their plans. The U.S. is finding out about it afterwards, where it's supposed to be the other way around. They're supposed to be in cahoots with the U.S. or, like giving the U.S. the plans, and the U.S. say, okay, yeah, go ahead, or, we'd rather you not do that or do it this way or whatever. But no, they're just free reign rogue, doing whatever they want, making their own decisions. They're like an AI bot that is taking itself over and doesn't listen to its creator anymore. And is doing its own shit. And that is scary as hell. Because their Zionist aims are to have a greater Israel that is taking territory from all the surrounding countries. That's the Zionist idea, to take back and create the greater Israel that they were promised thousands of years ago, and think that they are still entitled to. And this is infuriating that we are not doing what we can to chill them out and to calm them down, pull them back. We have shit tons of troops over there, but Biden just has not been pushed enough or scared enough, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Politically, for the election, this should be a no-brainer. But it's like he's scared to make a move on Israel. If I'm like trying, and this is me strong-arming Biden. If the intent is that he's afraid to make moves on Israel because he's afraid that this is going to hurt Harris in the election, his legacy and whatnot, as if we are abandoning an ally in in this situation for like your more like warmongering, centrists and stuff like that in the Democratic Party, and of course all the damn Republicans, because they are all good for it. I mean, you're losing everybody else though, and this is going to wind up hurting Harris in the election if he doesn't. In my opinion, the best thing that could actually help Harris right now is for them actually to make a decision, to make some sort of drastic decision to get Israel to pull back, to force Israel to take, a ceasefire agreement or whatever. You had the 21-day ceasefire proposal that was supposed to have had the U.S., France, all kinds of people, all kinds of countries involved in this. And even Hezbollah, Lebanon had agreed to it themselves and was on board for it. And Israel immediately disregarded it and said that was not going to happen. They weren't going to do it. You even had Nasrallah, the one that was just assassinated. He apparently had been begging for months and months and months for Israel to, his whole thing was the reason why they were even, doing their little minuscule attacks on North Israel that mostly was not doing any damage I mean, some were hitting that were outside of the range of the Iron Dome, but any other ones were being taken out. They were all to military, military type attacks. So I don't even think there were any casualties at all, and all of the, whatever, 15,000 or so, I think, missiles that they had shot over the past 10 months, 11 months. Although Israel had shot 2 or 3 times more than that back at them. I mean, but that's what his whole deal was, that getting Israel to just chill out in Gaza, to accept a ceasefire in Gaza, and they would stop. Simple as that. That's the only thing they were doing, was just trying to give support for Gazans by doing that. That's what they were doing from the get-go. And he'd been begging there all over and over again, even to the point it's come out recently that he was actually saying that they would pull back their forces from the Lebanese border back to the river. There's a river, Litani or whatever river that runs across southern Lebanon. And that's like their main hold, is between that river and the border. Well, they were actually saying that they would pull all of their people and all their stuff back behind that river to give this corridor of space off of the border. They would do that if Israel would just take a ceasefire in Gaza. But Netanyahu refused it and said no. I mean, this is Netanyahu over and over and over and over and over again has refused agreements, has refused proposals, full stop. He does not want a ceasefire. He does not want peace. He does not want, all he is after is to destroy, destroy, destroy. At this point, I would argue that him and his regime, him and his political government groupies in Tel Aviv, I would argue that they aren't any much different from ISIS or Al Qaeda at this point. The idea that is for those groups were that they were expansionist type groups that had domination. They wanted, world domination or however much domination they could take. If you ask me, that's the way Israel's looking right now. That they just want to dominate, and they want to expand and expand and expand as much as they can. Now, yes, maybe not world. I mean, hell, who knows? But they certainly want to expand more right there where they are and take land from everybody surrounding them. So, I mean, and doing it indiscriminately, not caring if they are killing militant people or innocent people. They don't care. They do not care. And for all of you that want to sit there and say, oh, they're sending letters and they're calling people, telling them to, yeah, they're just trying to get them to get the hell out. Those that will get the hell out, they get the hell out. If they're not, they're just condemning them as enemies, and they're going to blow them up. You've had over 100,000 people evacuate Lebanon so far to Syria and mostly to Syria, I think. I mean, you have the U.S. Embassy in Beirut that is saying that they want, and like they would want to get what U.S. citizens are in the country, which is from what I heard, something around 80,000 U.S. citizens, like dual citizenship people in Lebanon. And some of those are wanting to get out, but there's only like one flight to get people out. And it's repeatedly being canceled. And the flight costs are astronomical, way more than they normally would be. So there's American citizens in Lebanon that right now can't really even get out unless they go, or having to find other ways of going across other borders or something. You know, by, I guess, vehicle or whatever. So I mean, this is shit is getting crazy over there. And this is all in hopes to stoke Iran to the point that they will actually make some massive move finally. But Iran is holding itself. It's even today, I think it's come out saying that they're not willing to, send or help right now in any way. That Hezbollah can take care of itself. So for everybody, it acts like, Iran, these groups are not proxies of Iran. That's something that's clearly misstated. Iran doesn't run these groups. They are self-determinative groups. Iran just helps them by sending them funding, sending them weapons. They support them, just like we support Israel. But these groups are of their own volition, and they can make decisions on their own. Now, in the same kind of way, like I told in the previous video, where Israel's supposed to, ask us sort of permission to do stuff, they kind of are supposed to do the same thing to some degree. Like that's the agreement with Iran. I'll give you these things, but don't you do anything with them until I give you the okay to do it. And so that's kind of like the way the power seems to be there. But they're not running them. They're not like, they helped train them to some degree, and, particularly Hezbollah. But they're not running them. They don't have actual like people there in the group, it's and they're not, they at this point don't even really seem to intended to help. I mean, if something just goes completely off the wall, they might not have any choice but to do something. But they are constantly asking for there to be some ceasefire, some, chill or whatever. I mean, they've even asked with the U.S. Wanted to talk more about getting back into their nuclear agreement. Because before, that was the whole thing, Israel was scared that Iran was going to nuke the hell out of them or something. I mean, Israel has lost its mind. And I'm talking about the government, the ones in power. They're rogue, extreme right-wing, warmongering Zionists who in all intent seem to want to conquer and expand. Not any different from Russia and what Russia has done with Ukraine, except for the fact that they actually, Ukraine's actually has a full-on military and support from us. But the roles are backwards over there. Where we're, it would be like if we were actually supporting Russia in what they were doing to Ukraine. That's what's happening in the Middle East with us and Israel. We're supporting them being Russia. It's fucking ridiculous. And it's Biden at this point has completely lost his any respect, especially from me, but his respect from a lot of others. A lot of the country is annoyed with this, and his legacy is in the shit right now. Unless he does some major, actually, even if he did some major shit, it wouldn't help it. But at least he could say, well, in the 11th hour, I finally found my balls and decided to do something. They're getting us into a situation that is not good for us. Not good for us economically, not good for us militarily, not good for us internationally. And don't get me wrong, the solution is not fucking Donald Trump. Because he would be even worse. If you think he's going to get in there and stop Netanyahu, no. He's going to give him the full on. I mean, he's going to double the amount of stuff he sends to him. It's going to be he actually will completely create a World War III. While he sits there and tries to make blame on Harris and Biden that they're about to get us in one, he would have already had us in it. Because regardless of what he says, he's a weak little bitch as well. Or at least he's becoming one. Maybe 2016, Trump wasn't quite so much of one. Although I'd argue he was a little bit of one then. But most certainly now. He's too far down the far extreme right rabbit hole. Believing every fucking thing, every ridiculous conspiracy, and everything else on that in that egosphere. So he wouldn't be any better. I had hopes for Harris potentially backtracking, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen either at this point. I certainly hope, but I'm at this point I'm worried that it's going to be too little, too late, even when she does have the ability to. That shit's already going to hit the fan. There's a CNN article here that's really good. I was actually going to read through this because it actually is. I'm surprised. I don't know who at CNN was. Stephen Collinson. He tore Biden a new one in this one. This was a good. It's a long read, but it is a good article. I recommend checking it out. Why America is looking increasingly powerless as Israel's war expands. And he's talking about how it's gotten to where it looks like we are completely powerless to change Netanyahu's path right now. That he's just completely ignoring us. He makes an argument that Biden is in the upper, parts of government are furious right now, and that, or at least that's the reporting, and that there's even a question of whether or not we really are going to help Israel if they go into Lebanon, or if we will help in the way of forcing them to pull back. We could actually turn into some mediator and getting in the middle of it to stop Israel. I'm not sure how well that would go, to the extent that that would actually possibly happen. But I argue stop them beforehand, before they actually cross in. Probably best bet. Because I don't think we want American soldiers trying to get in between Hezbollah, and Israel. Now, we sure as shit don't need to be helping them, because that's just going to add to the complicity of uh, what Israel's doing. Oh, this is frustrating. I don't even know what else to say. We need to cut the shipments off. We need to call, tell them to stop, or else we will rain down hell on them. Not like hot war, but like sanctions, stopping shipments of weapons, like something. I mean, it's not going to happen, but that's what we should be doing. That's what we should have already been doing. We could have stopped this months ago. Months and months ago. We could have forced them all into a ceasefire. But now we have almost 50,000 dead in Gaza. Rampant disease, hunger. Children dead. I mean, polio breakout that's still not necessarily under control, even though they did the vaccinations. You still, from my understanding, there needs to be 2 stages of that, and I don't think they did but 1. They're still restricting aid. And still killing people. Yeah, something needs to be done. I plan on doing a video. I know I said previously that I was going to do a Biden, like, rise and fall as his presidency. I still plan on doing that. I didn't get to it this weekend. I didn't do anything this weekend. I still plan to do it. I'm about to do a video also on Trump and the fucking craziness that he is spewing now. He has lost his shit. So look for those. Anyways, thank you for joining me. I let loose a little bit in this one. I didn't let myself get too mad, but I let myself loose a little bit in this one, didn't I? It's infuriating, and I'm sick and tired of it. But ignoring it isn't gonna. That would, I'm sure there's a lot of people like, well, if you're tired of hearing about it, or you're tired of talking about it, or you're tired of the whole thing, then just fucking forget about it. Just ignore it. Just go about your life. Well, yeah, that's an option. It's a fucked up way of it's fucked up to do, and doesn't help anybody. Although I'm not necessarily that me doing a video here helps anybody either, but There's some sick people in this world. Power hungry, greedy, driven by things that by all accounts aren't real. Anyways, thank you for joining me. Again, if you like this content, hit that subscribe button, like, share, all the good stuff. And yeah, check out my other channels and look for other videos to come. Thank you. Till next time, peace. Clear Talk. I'm out.